There is something I have wanted to say to you for a very long time, and tonight, in the quiet that has finally settled around you, your heart is at last open enough to hear it. Before you ever watched a single door swing open in front of you, before the answer you have been aching for came anywhere near your life, I had already heard the sound your heart makes when no one else is listening. I heard it in the long nights you believed were wasted. I heard it in the silence you mistook for my absence. I heard it in the moments you smiled for the world, while something inside you was quietly breaking. You thought you were only passing through ordinary, forgettable days, but it was precisely in that stillness that I was laying the first stones of a journey you are about to walk into. I want you to understand this before we go any further, because everything else depends on it. I have never let a single tear of yours fall to the ground unnoticed, and I have never allowed one sincere prayer of yours to dissolve into empty air. Long ago, when a desperate king turned his face to the wall and wept, I told him plainly that I had heard his prayer and seen his tears, and that same promise belongs to you tonight. What you have been calling waiting is, in truth, the season in which I have been quietly preparing a gift far greater than anything your imagination has dared to picture. So let your shoulders come down from where fear has been holding them. You are not behind, you are not forgotten. You are exactly where the next chapter begins. Many times you have looked up at the sky and wondered whether I still remembered you at all. But think for a moment about what you are asking. How could the one who shaped your very breath with his own hands forget you, when I knew you before you ever learned to call my name? I called your name before you took your first step upon this earth. I saw the whole arc of your life laid out before me, every valley and every height, and not one moment you have lived through has ever fallen outside my sight. I have loved you with a love that has no ending, a love the prophet Jeremiah heard me speak from the depths of eternity, and that love has not grown smaller, not even by the width of a single thread, not once in all your days. When you were weak, I was there beside you. When you stood disappointed in front of doors that closed in your face, I was the one quietly holding them shut, keeping you from walking into places that would have wounded your soul in ways you could not yet see. There are things I did not allow to happen in your life, and you blamed yourself, or you blamed me, or you blamed the cruelty of circumstance. But I was not abandoning you in those moments. I was protecting your future with a hand far wiser than all the understanding the human mind can gather. One day you will look back and you will thank me for the prayers I lovingly refused. So tonight I want you to stop seeing yourself as a small lost soul drifting through an enormous and indifferent world. You are not invisible to me. You are like a single lamp I myself placed in the darkness. And even on the nights when you cannot feel the light you carry, I still see it shining clearly in the unseen realm. The prayers you whispered when you were most alone rose up to me like the sweetest fragrance. You imagined I was silent, but my silence has never been the same thing as indifference. Sometimes I stay quiet only, so that your faith can sink its roots deeper, the way a seed must lie hidden beneath dark soil before it can rise into a great and sheltering tree. Your soul has been buried in that same darkness for a reason, and what looks to you like a grave is in fact the beginning of a harvest. Let me tell you about a woman who lived in a time of terrible drought, the widow of Zarephath in the days of the prophet Elijah. The land had cracked open from thirst, the sky had withheld its rain, and when Elijah found her, she was gathering a few sticks to cook one final, small meal before she expected to die. She had only a handful of flour left, and the last of her oil clinging to the bottom of a jar. Every reasonable hope had already drained away from her. And yet it was in that exact moment of deepest lack, when she had nothing left to protect and nothing left to lose, that I chose to open the door to a miracle. She decided to trust my word rather than surrender to her fear. And from that day the flour in her jar did not run out, and the oil did not fail, not until the rain returned and the land breathed again. You are no different from that widow, my beloved child. There are seasons when you look at your own life and see nothing but limitation, an empty jar, a few sticks, the end of the road. But where you see scarcity, I see an abundance that is simply waiting for the right moment to be released. I am not bound by your circumstances. I have never needed perfect conditions in order to work a miracle. What I am searching for in you is not a flawless situation, but a heart that can still hold on to faith on the days that feel most empty of everything. And even now, in this very hour, I am at work in things your eyes are not yet able to see. There are encounters I am quietly arranging. There are doors I am beginning to open. There are answers you long ago decided had arrived too late, and yet they are drawing nearer to you with every passing day. I know the plans I hold for you, and they are plans for peace and not for harm, plans to give you a future and a hope. I am not leading you out into the wilderness in order to lose you somewhere along the way. I am leading you toward the place where your soul will finally be restored and your future will open like a sunrise. What is coming to you is not punishment, it is renewal. It is not an ending, it is the beginning I prepared for you long before you were born. So do not let fear be the thing that steals your heart. The enemy of your soul has one favorite lie that he repeats in 100 different voices, and the lie is this: that you are too small, too late, and too wounded to ever be used for anything that matters. But consider who I have chosen before you. I took a young shepherd boy named David, armed with nothing but a sling and a few smooth stones, and through him I brought down a giant that an entire army feared. I took Moses, who stood before me insisting that his own mouth was too slow and clumsy to speak, and I used him to lead a whole nation out of slavery and through the parted waters of the sea. I did not choose either of them because they were already perfect. I chose them because I could see what they would become the moment they placed their trembling hands inside mine. And that is exactly why I have chosen you. When I call someone, I do not send them out empty. I give them the strength to carry what I have called them to carry. And when I decide to open a way for you, there is no power anywhere on this earth or beneath it that can force that door shut again. I know there are nights when you are so tired that you only want to lay everything down and let it all go. I know there are prayers you have prayed with a heart still full of confusion, where the words came out, but the peace did not seem to follow. But even on those nights, I am sitting right beside you, the way a father stays awake through the long hours of darkness, for the sake of a child he loves more than his own rest. I do not look down on your weakness. The place where you feel most broken is very often the exact place where my light can finally get in, because my power is made perfect in weakness, just as the Apostle Paul learned when he begged me to remove the thing that humbled him. So never be ashamed of your tears. Some of the most beautiful prayers ever lifted to heaven were never spoken with the lips at all. They rose instead from a heart that had grown soft and honest in my presence. And the day is coming when you will look back over every winding, confusing step you took, and you will finally understand that each one carried meaning. The closed doors were saving you from the wrong roads. The seasons of waiting were maturing your soul. The times you felt completely forgotten were the very moments when I was writing the most beautiful chapter of your story, one your eyes did not yet have the strength to read. Just as Joseph had to pass through the bottom of a pit and the cold of a prison cell before he ever set foot in the palace, you too are being led through a process, and the process is making you stronger and wiser than the comfort you keep asking me forever could. Nothing I allow into your life is meaningless, so let your heart finally come to rest. Do not go racing ahead of me in your anxiety, and do not freeze in place out of fear either. Simply take the next step, and then the one after that, with trust. I am in front of you to lead the way, behind you to guard what you cannot see, and right beside you so you are never walking alone. My arm has not left your life for a single second. What I have promised I will bring to pass. What I have begun in you, I will carry all the way to completion, at the most beautiful and perfectly chosen time. And on the day the door I have prepared finally appears before your eyes, you will understand at last that every tear, every prayer, and every long season of waiting was leading you straight to that sacred moment, the moment you realize you have always been loved, always been chosen, and never once forgotten in my eternal heart. Now let your heart grow quiet for a little while longer, and receive what I am whispering to you in this moment, because not every meeting between you and me arrives with thunder rolling across the heavens. Far more often my grace slips in gently, like a soft breeze brushing against a weary face. I have not drawn you near in order to condemn you. I have not brought you into this hour to lay one more heavy burden across your already tired shoulders. I come as a merciful father, bending down beside the child he loves, to press a new hope into your open hands and to rekindle in your eyes the light that the hardest days had slowly dimmed. Come to me, all of you who are weary and worn down by your burdens, and I will give your soul rest. That ancient invitation is not hanging far away from you. Tonight, it is opening right in front of you, like a door of peace you are finally allowed to walk through. Do not be afraid when I invite you to come deeper still. The path I am opening is not designed to make you lose yourself. It is designed to help you rediscover the noblest part of who you are, the part I placed within you from the very beginning, before the world ever taught you to be smaller. Perhaps you have grown so accustomed to living inside the limits other people drew around you, or the limits that old pain quietly built inside your own heart, that you have forgotten those walls were never mine. What humanity calls impossible has never been a boundary to me. When the Red Sea stood roaring in front of my people and the enemy thundered behind them, they were certain they had reached the absolute end of the road. But at a single word from me, the waters drew back and dry ground rose up in the very place where there had been no way at all. In the same way, where you see a dead end, I have already laid a path. Where you feel only weakness, I have already hidden strength. And where you are convinced that everything has closed, I am quietly beginning to write a new chapter with the ink of mercy. This is why you must stop rushing to measure your journey against everyone else's. Every soul has its own appointed season of blooming beneath my light. The wildflowers of the field do not compete for beauty with the great cedars on the mountains, and yet both are tended perfectly by the same caring hand. Consider how the lilies of the field grow, the way they neither labor nor strive, and remember that true beauty does not come from struggling to outshine your neighbor. It comes from remaining inside my loving care. What I am giving to you was never meant to look identical to what I give to someone else, because you were not created to be a faded copy of another life. You carry a unique mark, a unique calling, and a unique path that I myself carved out in eternal wisdom long before you arrived. Look closely at the world I made, and you will see that I have never once worked carelessly. No two snowflakes that have ever fallen were exactly alike. No two stars burning in the night carry precisely the same light. Every single thing I created bears a fingerprint of uniqueness pressed into it by my own hand. So how could you, the one I treasure above all the rest of creation, be nothing more than a nameless copy lost in an endless crowd? I knew you and shaped you while you were still being formed in secret, before the world had any idea you existed, and you are fearfully and wonderfully made. A skilled artist does not accidentally stumble into a masterpiece. Every brushstroke is intentional, every detail placed on purpose. In exactly the same way, every part of who you are was set inside you with meaning. The potter does not shape a precious vessel only to forget it in a dark and dusty corner, and I did not bring you into being without a purpose for your days. So when the voice of comparison whispers that everyone else seems to be walking through wide open doors while you are still standing in a season of unanswered silence, remember that you are seeing only a narrow sliver of time, while I am looking at the whole of eternity. What you can see is one short stretch of the road. What I can see is the entire picture I am weaving out of your life. I have made everything beautiful in its proper time. Some seeds sprout quickly and are gone, while some great trees need years to sink their roots deep enough before they can rise high enough to touch the sky. When I placed David out in the fields as a forgotten shepherd boy, no one watching believed that child would ever wear a crown. When I led Joseph down through years of betrayal and imprisonment, no one could see the throne that was waiting at the end of all that pain. And when I look at you today, I see exactly what you have not yet recognized in yourself. You are not being left behind. You are being prepared in a deeply personal way for a deeply personal calling that belongs to no one else. Remember the young woman named Esther, an orphan who must have felt for most of her life that she was simply being carried along by circumstances far larger than herself. She had no power to control where her life was heading, and yet I had quietly placed her in exactly the right position at exactly the right hour, so that when the moment of crisis came, she stood in the one place where she could save an entire people from destruction. Every strange and winding turn in her story had been leading toward a destiny that heaven had appointed long before she understood any of it. The same is true of you. What you keep calling coincidence is so often my own hand, gently steering your life closer to what I have planned. So do not treat this present moment lightly. If something in your soul is trembling right now, if you can feel a part of you being awakened, it is not because human words alone have the power to do that. It is because I am the one reaching into the deepest place inside you. There is a story I want to plant in your memory tonight. When I called the boy Samuel in the middle of the night, he did not yet understand that the voice reaching him had come from heaven. He thought the old priest Eli was the one calling, and so again and again he got up and ran to him. But the moment finally came when his heart was guided to answer in a different way, and he said simply, "Speak, for your servant is listening." And in that small act of humble willingness, an entire prophetic life was born. Do you see what I am showing you? Sacred moments rarely begin with dazzling displays designed to capture the attention of the crowd. They begin instead with a single soul who is willing to pause, willing to listen, and willing to answer me with trust. I am not asking you tonight to do something enormous in front of the eyes of the world. I am only asking you not to ignore the gentle call that is touching the deepest place inside you right now. A few brief moments may seem to pass by quickly in human time, but in the spiritual realm, a single act of surrender is enough to redirect the entire course of a life. One word of yes from a young woman named Mary opened the way for a Savior to come into the world. One single step out of a rocking boat allowed Peter to feel the impossible water hold firm beneath his feet. And one trembling touch of faith from a woman who had suffered for 12 long years drew out a healing that the pressing crowd around her never even noticed. So do not treat lightly what is stirring in your heart this very moment. When you open yourself, grace finally finds a place to flow in. When you stop bolting the door shut out of fear, light finds its way into the darkened rooms of your soul. I know there have been days when you doubted your own worth, times when you wondered whether your quiet life truly carried any meaning at all, whether your small and unseen efforts were ever noticed, whether the holy dreams sleeping inside you would ever wake. I have seen every bit of it. Not one good seed you have ever sown has slipped from my memory, and not one shaking prayer you have lifted up has been treated as unimportant. Before you even call out to me, I am already answering. because my love always moves ahead of your fears. You do not have to earn the right to be loved by me. That love was never something you could purchase with your achievements. It flows out of my own eternal nature freely, the way light flows from the sun. So lift your eyes now. Do not let carelessness or exhaustion or the constant noise around you cause you to miss the grace that is passing close by. There are doors that do not open through striving, but only through attentiveness. There are blessings that cannot be seized in a hurry, but only received by a heart willing to grow still in front of me. Be still and know that I am God, that stillness is not emptiness, and it is not wasted time. It is a sacred space where you can finally hear the sound of my footsteps drawing near. When your heart stops sprinting after fear and worry, you will discover that I have been standing far closer to you than you ever dared to imagine. What I am setting in front of you is not a vague and distant promise. It is a confirmation that your life still rests securely within my plan. The days ahead of you do not belong to darkness, because I am the one who holds your tomorrow in my hands. You will no longer have to live as someone driven and chased by fear. You will live instead as someone carried and sustained by love. I will teach your eyes to see your circumstances differently. I will teach your feet to walk with renewed faith, and I will teach your heart to reach toward the future as something to be embraced rather than something to be survived. And when you look back on this very night, you will understand that the moment you chose to open your heart became the quiet beginning of a deep and lasting transformation. So come near to me. Do not close your ears against words of love. Do not turn away from the hand that is reaching out to you. And do not let your old fears keep casting the deciding vote in place of your new faith. I have not come to take your peace away from you. I have come to give it back. I have not come to make you smaller. I have come to remind you that you were created for the light. Receive the hope I am offering. Receive the strength I am pouring out. Receive the vision I am opening in front of you. And within that holy gentleness, you will know with certainty that I am holding all things together, that you have never once walked alone, and that what I have begun in you, I will complete at the most beautiful appointed time. I do not want you to hurry away while this sacred door is still standing open, because there are gifts in this life that are given only to those who know how to stay long enough to listen with their whole soul. When you patiently remain in my presence, every word I speak stops being merely a sound passing through your ears and becomes holy oil feeding the flame inside you. The very way the 5 wise women in the old parable kept their lamps filled with oil while they waited through the night for the bridegroom to arrive. I am teaching you, in the same way, to prepare your soul for the new season that is now drawing close. There have been long stretches when your heart felt as dry as land that has gone untouched by rain for far too many years. You kept praying anyway. You kept putting one foot in front of the other anyway. And yet deep down you grew tired because you could not see the change you were begging for. But hear me clearly, my river has never once stopped flowing toward you. The moment you open your heart in front of me, the living water of heaven begins to seep quietly into the most cracked and broken places in your soul. Anyone who drinks the water that I give will never be thirsty in that desperate way again, because my water does not merely soothe a temporary thirst. It transforms the soul itself into a spring that keeps overflowing with life. I do not want you simply to hear my words and then forget them, like someone who lingers outside a door but never steps inside. I want my word to sink deep into every thought, every wound, and every dream you long ago buried under disappointment, until you are renewed from the inside out. So do not file this away as just one more passing message among the 1,000 voices that compete for your attention each day. There are words that are built only from human understanding, and then there are words that carry the very breath of heaven. And when those words touch your soul, they cease to be mere information and become life itself. From the night Abraham stood beneath a sky thick with stars and dared to believe an impossible promise, all the way down to this present moment with you, I have remained the faithful God who keeps his word through every generation. Heaven and earth themselves will one day pass away, but my words will never pass away. So what I am planting in your heart tonight is not something fleeting. It is a seed of eternity. The path I am opening before you is nothing like the roads the world builds out of ambition and rivalry. It is not paved with pride but with peace. It is not built on deception but on truth. I am leading you into a journey where your soul learns how to walk beside me, instead of forever chasing after things that fade the moment you finally grasp them. Remember Enoch, the man who simply walked with me day after day, until at last the world could no longer find him. The secret of his life was never power or fame. It was the quiet depth of his communion with me. That is exactly what I desire for you. Not a life merely crowded with religious activity, but a heart that is genuinely close to me, so that every step you take carries the light of heaven into the places you walk. Perhaps you once dreamed of great things, and then felt the sharp ache of disappointment when those things never came to pass. But I want you to understand something about true desire. The most beautiful longings are never born out of selfishness. They are refined through tears, through waiting, through the long stretches when you kept believing, even though you could see no result. A seed has to remain buried in dark soil before it can rise into a harvest, and your faith works the very same way. The prayers you offered in silence were never lost. They are growing right now in the unseen realm. Those who plant their seed in tears will one day reap with songs of joy. And the day is coming when the very things you once wept over will become the reasons you bow your head in gratitude. Remember Hannah, who wept year after year because her arms remained empty and her deepest longing went unanswered for so long that her heart felt worn down to nothing. Yet her son Samuel was born at the exact time I had appointed, not one day too early and not one day too late. Those long years of waiting were never meaningless, and they were never a sign that I had forgotten her. They were quietly preparing her heart, deepening it, widening it, until it was ready to hold, and then to surrender her greatest treasure back to me. The same is happening in you. The seasons of delay you have endured are not punishment, and they are not proof of my absence. They are maturing your soul, making it strong enough and wide enough to carry what I am about to place into your hands. So do not despise the waiting. Inside the waiting, I am at work. Think of the boy in the great hungry crowd who carried only 5 small loaves and 2 fish. In the eyes of everyone watching, it was almost absurd, far too little to make any difference to thousands of empty stomachs. But the instant that small offering was placed into my hands, it became a miracle that fed them all with food to spare. You are exactly like that boy. You look at yourself and see only your limitations, only the smallness of what you have to offer. But I see the staggering potential hidden inside a soul that is simply willing to hand me what little it holds. Whatever you surrender to me with a sincere heart, I will multiply far beyond every human calculation. I do not need your perfection. I desire your trust. And as you keep walking the road I am leading you down, you will slowly begin to realize that the most precious thing I give is not the visible blessing at all. It is the transformation taking place inside you. The fear that once imprisoned, you will gradually lose its grip. The thoughts that taught you to doubt yourself will be scattered by the light of truth. You will learn to look at your future not through anxious eyes, but through the eyes of hope. The peace I am leaving with you is not the fragile kind the world hands out and then takes back, because my peace does not depend on your circumstances. It rests on my presence, so do not step out of the flow of grace too soon. Stay long enough for your soul to be truly refreshed. Let my words soak all the way down into you, the way slow rain sinks into softened earth. Every moment you spend with your heart open in front of me is a moment your soul is being prepared for something greater that lies just ahead. Long before you ever came to know yourself, I had already seen you among the countless souls scattered across the earth. My eyes did not happen to land on you by accident. I deliberately called your name out of my own eternal purpose. When the people around you saw only smallness in you, I saw a flame hidden beneath the ashes of difficult years. And because I can see what no one else is able to see, I have never abandoned you. I have called you by your name, and you belong to me. You are not the product of random chance, and you are not a forgotten soul lost somewhere in the vast current of life. You are part of a plan I have been carrying in love and wisdom from the very beginning. I know there have been seasons when you walked through ground so dry and barren that your heart felt it no longer had the strength to keep hoping. There were nights you stayed silent because you were simply too exhausted to pray. There were mornings you looked around and could not find a single sign that tomorrow would be any different from today. But it is precisely in those seasons that look the most lifeless that I am working the most deeply inside you. A seed does not sprout on noisy, trampled ground, grows in darkness, in silence under the soil that people so easily mistake for a burial place. Your faith grows the same way. The trials you have been enduring were never sent to destroy you. They were sent to drive your roots deeper into me. Blessed is the one who keeps standing under trial, because the person who endures the testing will receive the crown of life. Remember Gideon, who was once hiding in a winepress, terrified of an enemy that had stripped his people of everything. In his own eyes, he was the smallest member of the weakest family, weak and incapable, with nothing to offer. And yet, when my messenger appeared to him, the very first words I called over his life were these: "Mighty warrior, do you understand what I was doing? I do not call you according to the limitations you are staring at right now. I call you according to what I already know you will become once you begin to walk with me." Gideon was convinced he was not enough, and I used that very man to rescue an entire nation. You may be looking at yourself through eyes clouded with hesitation, but I am looking at a witness of grace, a lamp capable of carrying light into places you have never imagined you could reach. So do not underestimate the flame quietly burning inside you. The winds of life may have weakened it more than once. Disappointment may have covered it over with ash until you assumed it had died. But it has never gone out, because I am the one who lit it, and what I kindle cannot be extinguished by the darkness. There are people who pass through their entire lives without ever discovering what they were made for, but deep in your heart, you have always sensed that your life must hold a meaning far greater than mere survival. That sense is not an accident. It is the calling I placed inside you, the flame of faithfulness, the longing for what is holy, the stubborn hope that refuses to surrender even after it has been wounded again and again. Do not quench that flame, because the breath I breathed into your soul carries the very life of heaven. I want to give you the courage to step beyond the edges of what feels safe, the same courage that allowed Abraham to leave his homeland without knowing where the road would lead, simply because he trusted the one who had called him, and through that single act of trust, he became the father of many nations. There are miracles that appear only when you dare to walk with me before the whole path has been revealed. So do not be afraid of the trials that still lie ahead. Steel does not become strong without passing through fire, and a great tree cannot stand firm against a storm unless it has already endured the winds that tested its roots. I do not allow you to face trials so that I can watch you fall. I allow them so that I can prove to you that my power is more than enough to hold you upright in every circumstance. When Daniel was thrown into the den of lions, The miracle was never that he avoided the danger. The miracle was that I was with him in the very middle of it. And so it will be with you. I have not promised you a life without storms. I have promised you that you will never walk through a single one of them alone, because when you pass through the waters, I will be with you. Everything you have lived through, every encounter, every door that opened, and every door that closed, is being woven together into a larger picture, and right now you can only see a few scattered pieces of it. But I can see all of it. I know which road leads to life, where your soul will finally bloom, when you are meant to wait, and when you are meant to step forward without hesitating. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go, and I will keep my eye upon you. So as you keep listening to me, you are receiving guidance that runs far deeper than human wisdom can reach. And a day is coming when you will stand in this world as living proof that I am still at work, not because you were ever more perfect than anyone around you, but because you chose to trust me, even in the most confusing and difficult seasons. People will see in you a light that did not come from this world. They will see a soul that was once broken and is now whole, once weak and now standing firm, once tangled in confusion and now filled with peace. And your life itself will become a song of praise to my power, clearer and more convincing than 1,000 sermons. There is a way of seeing your own journey as nothing more than the same tired steps repeated through one ordinary day after another. But that is not how I see it. Every time you choose to keep trusting before you have seen a single result, every moment you decide to stay even when your heart is worn thin, you are like a pilgrim moving one faithful step at a time toward a holy place. Some pilgrimages are not walked on roads of stone at all. They take place deep inside the soul, where you slowly learn to release your fear and to walk by faith instead of by the fragile weather of your feelings. And not one of your steps is wasted. The steps of a person whose heart is right are ordered and steadied by me. Even when you feel as though you are crawling forward at an unbearable pace, I see you drawing closer to the place I prepared for you long ago. Mountains are not raised up in a single night, and a river does not carve a deep channel through hard stone with one passing flood. Yet drop after patient drop, water reshapes the entire landscape over time. Your faith works in exactly that way. Each time you listen to me with an open heart, each time you choose to remain instead of giving up, something durable is being built inside you that no storm will be able to tear down. I am leading you out of the old land of limitation, with its low ceilings and its locked doors, and into a wide new country of hope and freedom, a place where your soul is no longer chained by cruel words, painful memories, or the cold fear of failing again. It is the place where you will finally begin to see yourself through my eyes, instead of through the harsh judgment of the world. Remember the people of Israel as they crossed the wilderness. Again and again they were certain the journey was nothing but weariness and pointless delay. But the whole time, I was preparing them for a promised land. If I had carried them straight in without the process, they would not yet have grown strong enough or wise enough to hold what I was about to give them. The same is true for you. There are doors I have not opened immediately, not because I forgot them, but because I am making your soul stronger than you realize. The wilderness has never been a sign that I abandoned you. Very often it is the exact place where I speak to you most intimately. That is why I once said that I would lead my people out into the wilderness and there speak tenderly to their hearts. In that great stillness, with the noise of the world stripped away, you finally learn to recognize my voice. So, tonight I am not asking you only to hear me with the ears on your head and then let my words drift off like a passing wind. I am asking you to listen with your soul. There is an enormous difference between a person who merely collects information and a person who actually receives life. The first one only gathers more knowledge. The second one is transformed from the inside. When my word takes root in your heart, it becomes a lamp for your feet and a light for the path in front of you, guiding you safely through your darkest nights. I do not simply want you to know about me from a distance. I want you to walk with me so closely that your own life becomes part of the story of grace that heaven is writing across this generation. Do not stand off to the side as a spectator, watching your one and only life drift past you. I did not create you merely to exist. I created you to take part in something far larger than yourself. As long as Peter stayed in the boat, he remained nothing more than an observer of the miracle happening on the water. It was only when he stepped over the side at my call that he became someone who actually experienced my power holding him up. Perhaps you are standing right now at the border between a familiar kind of safety and a frightening kind of faith. I understand that it scares you, but remember that the door of transformation always opens to the one who dares to take a single step closer to me. The things you have asked me for through your tears across many long years have not been forgotten, and those very prayers are what have led you to this exact moment, the moment when you must choose either to keep trusting or to turn back because you are tired. I know there is a flame inside you that the world has never fully been able to understand, and there have been times when even you believed it had finally flickered out after so many disappointments. But that flame was never lit by passing human emotion. It was kindled by my own breath. It is the deep calling that keeps you from surrendering completely to the darkness, the quiet force that keeps lifting you back to your feet after every fall. The hope that goes on burning even after life has buried everything you loved beneath the ashes. I have set before you an open door that no one is able to shut, and if I am the one who lit the flame, then I am also the one who will keep it burning through every storm. Think of the prophet Elijah on the day he collapsed under a solitary tree in the wilderness and begged me to simply let him die. He was convinced he had failed completely, that everything he had given his life to had come to nothing. And yet I did not scold him for his exhaustion or shame him for his despair. I sent a messenger to care for him, to give him bread to eat and water to drink, and then I gently led him onward into the rest of his journey. Do you see what I am telling you? Even the strongest people grow weary. What matters is not whether you have ever felt like collapsing. What matters is whether you will let me restore you instead of giving up. I am not ashamed of your fragility. It is so often in those very moments of weakness that my grace is able to touch you most deeply. So let the flame inside you burn brightly again, not through some desperate effort to manufacture strength on your own, but simply by staying in my presence a little longer, listening to me a little more deeply, and choosing to trust me one more time. Every moment you persevere today is becoming a step that carries you closer to what I have promised. There is a new door waiting just ahead of you, a door of healing, of restoration, of the very life you once prayed for in the dark when you thought no one could hear. And when that door finally opens, you will understand that not one word I ever spoke to you fell to the ground empty. Not one tear was forgotten, and not one faithful step you took ever escaped my eternal love. Pause for a moment now, in the middle of all the noise the world keeps throwing at you, and listen to the call that is echoing all the way from eternity. What is happening inside your heart right now is not some fragile coincidence that flickers up and then vanishes like a passing wind. I appointed this moment long before you were even able to recognize it. While you still had no idea where the journey of your life would lead, I had already seen this day, the day your soul would finally stand in front of a new door, the day your old limitations would begin to crack apart under the light of faith. I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut, so do not turn away while the door of grace is standing wide open, and do not stop walking while heaven itself is drawing you closer to what I prepared for you from the foundation of the world. I know that deep inside you there are still questions you have never spoken out loud. You quietly wonder whether all these good things could really be meant for someone like you. You look at your limitations, your past failures, your old wounds, and you decide it would be too hard for you to step into something greater. But so many of the people I called before you were trembling in exactly the way you are trembling now. When I called Moses back to Egypt to set my people free, he protested that he was not eloquent enough to speak. When I called Jeremiah, he answered that he was only a child. When my messenger appeared to a young woman named Mary, she too was deeply troubled by something far beyond her understanding. Yet miracles never begin with human certainty. They begin with my presence. With me, all things are possible, and the fact that you cannot understand something today does not mean that I am not already at work. Very often, it is inside the darkness of uncertainty that I am quietly building my greatest wonders. Do not imagine for a moment that I am bound by the rules of this earth. I am the one who split the sea wide open in front of my people. I am the one who multiplied bread in the middle of a wilderness with nothing to spare. I am the one who called a man named Lazarus out of his grave on the day everyone present had agreed that all hope was finished. When you look at a barren desert, I see rivers already preparing to run through it. When you look at nothing but ashes after a loss, I am already watching new life begin to rise. See, I am doing a new thing, and even now it is springing up. You do not have to understand every detail in order to walk with me. You only have to open your heart and let faith carry you one more step forward. Faith was never about seeing the entire road before you are willing to take the first step. Faith is choosing to keep walking even when only a small lamp lights the ground directly in front of your feet. Abraham left his homeland with no idea where he was going. Noah built an enormous ark in an age that had never witnessed great rain. Peter stepped down onto the surface of the water simply because he had heard my voice calling him. It is inside those steps that move beyond human reasoning that the power of heaven is revealed. I know there are times when you want everything to be perfectly clear before you dare to believe. But if everything always fit neatly inside human understanding, where would there ever be room left for my miracles? The one who is right with me will live by faith, and that faith is the key that unlocks the very treasure your soul has been longing for across so many years. Lift your eyes toward the heavens whenever your heart begins to grow faint. The stars you see scattered across the night do not shine by their own power. I called each one of them out by name and set it in its appointed place. The sun does not rise on its own strength either. I am the one who awakens the dawn every single morning. Every gentle breeze, every drop of dew resting on the fields, every steady heartbeat inside your chest is evidence that my power is constantly at work all around you. If I take such tender care of the birds of the air, and if I clothe the wildflowers of the field in beauty that outshines a king, how could I possibly forget you, the one I formed with my own love? You are worth far more to me than many sparrows, so do not let fear convince you that you have somehow been overlooked in this vast world. I want you to understand where your true riches are kept, because the world will spend your whole life pointing you toward the wrong treasures. There are people who possess fame and applause and yet carry an emptiness inside them that nothing can fill. There are people surrounded by wealth who have never once known a single hour of real peace. But what I am placing inside you is a treasure that the world can neither purchase nor steal away. It is my presence with you, my choosing of you, and the eternal promise that is quietly at work in your life. Where your treasure is, that is where your heart will live also. So I am teaching you to anchor your heart in the things that last forever, rather than in the things that fade the moment you finally grasp them. You did not appear on this earth by accident. I breathed the breath of life into you with my own intention, and that breath has never lost its value. It is the mark that you belong to me. There is a vision I want you to keep close to your heart. When the prophet Ezekiel was set down in the middle of a valley filled with dry, scattered bones, everything in front of his eyes spoke only of death and hopelessness. And I asked him a strange question, "Son of man, can these bones live again?" When he obeyed and spoke out the words I gave him, the breath of life entered those dry bones, and they came together and rose up as a vast and living army. Do you understand what I am showing you? What the world has already declared an ending, I am still able to turn into a beginning. There may be parts of your own life that look completely dead to you right now. Dreams you buried, hopes you no longer even dare to mention out loud. Yet I am fully able to call them back to life in my perfect time. So stop measuring your future by the size of your present circumstances, and stop letting your past write the verdict over your destiny. What I am preparing for you cannot be bought with silver or gold, and no earthly power could ever manufacture it. It is not a temporary blessing. It is a touch from eternity itself, a peace the world has no power to steal, a restoration that reaches all the way down into the soul, and a joy that no longer rises and falls with your outward conditions. So remain in my presence. Do not give up just before the dawn appears. Do not let your unanswered questions push you into turning away from the miracle that is drawing near. Every second you persevere is carrying you closer to the destiny I appointed for you from the beginning. There are doors opening right now in the unseen realm that your eyes cannot perceive, and prayers drawing close to the day of their answer. And a time is coming when you will look back and realize that the exact moment you chose to trust me in the middle of what you could not understand was the moment my miracle quietly slipped into your life. I want you to look at your own soul the way I look at it, as a vessel I shaped with my own loving hands. I did not form you to live forever in emptiness and drought. I made you to hold light, to carry the life of heaven within you. When you open your heart in front of me, I pour into it a peace the world cannot give, a wisdom that runs deeper than human reasoning, and a strength that will keep you standing on the days the strongest winds are blowing. When your heart is filled with the goodness that comes from me, even the words that come out of your mouth begin to carry warmth and healing to the weary people around you. You will discover that my presence inside you does not transform you alone. It begins to touch every life you meet along your road. There are ideas I quietly planted in your mind a long time ago, dreams you were afraid to truly believe could ever become real. You stared at your own limitations and hesitated, but a seed can never become a great tree as long as it stays resting in the hand of the one who is supposed to sow it. I placed creativity inside you, and compassion, and the ability to bring beautiful things into being, not so they could lie dormant forever, but so they could bear fruit in their appointed season. Remember Bezalel, the craftsman I filled with my own spirit, so that he could create works of breathtaking beauty for the dwelling place of my presence. I gave him not only skill but also wisdom and inspiration, so that everything his hands made would reflect the beauty of heaven. The same is true of what I have placed inside you. It is not meaningless, and it can become a stream of life for many people, but only if you dare to place it into my hands. So do not fear the great things I am preparing for you. I know how many times you have stepped back, not because you lacked desire, but because you were afraid you would not be able to carry the good things once they finally arrived. You convinced yourself that great blessings would only bring great pressure, and your heart trembled in front of that responsibility. But I never place anything in your hands without also giving you the strength to hold it. When I called Moses to lead my people through the wilderness, I went with him myself, a pillar of cloud through the day and a pillar of fire through the night. When I set Joshua in front of a promised land crowded with battles, I told him to be strong and courageous because I would be with him wherever he went. What makes you steady is not your own strength. It is my presence walking right beside you. I do not want you to believe that blessings are things that will pull you away from me. The good gifts I give are never meant to draw your heart somewhere else. They are meant to reveal my faithfulness inside your life. It is true that some people receive the very thing they prayed for and then forget the one who gave it. But I am teaching you a different path, a path of gratitude and of deeper closeness with me. When you truly grasp that every good thing comes from my hand, your heart will not be enslaved by wealth or success. It will only grow softer in worship, because every good and perfect gift comes down from above. Remember young Solomon, who, when I offered to give him anything he asked for, did not ask for riches or for victory over his enemies. He asked for the wisdom to lead the people well, and because of the heart behind that request, I gave him not only the wisdom he asked for, but everything else besides. When a person's heart is rightly aligned with my purpose, blessing stops being a danger and becomes a song. What I give you was never intended for you alone. A river was never created to hoard its water. It exists to refresh every land it flows through. In the very same way, I want your life to become a moving stream of goodness. The healing you receive will help you comfort others who are still in pain. The lessons you learn in the fire of your trials will become light for people who are lost. The doors I open for you will cause others to see that I am still at work in this world. You are the light of the world, and I do not set a lamp burning only to hide it away. I light it so that through you, many other souls may find their way home. So learn to trust the process. Gold cannot become pure until it has passed through the fire, and grapes cannot become new wine until they have been pressed. The desires inside you are being refined in exactly that way, so that when they finally come to pass, they will carry life and not pride. Now I have to speak to you about something gentle and difficult at the same time, because I love you too much to leave you the way you are. I know there are days when life sweeps you along so fast that your soul never finds enough stillness to notice what is truly happening inside you. You are buried under responsibilities and one pressure after another, and slowly you have started to believe that constant exhaustion, endless delay, and a heaviness you cannot name are simply normal parts of being alive. But pause with me and look a little deeper. Not every burden weighing on you is coming from your outward circumstances. There are unseen things quietly draining your strength and your hope, the way a vine can wrap itself around a healthy tree until that tree can no longer grow. I am not telling you this to frighten you. I am telling you to wake you out of a dangerous familiarity with the things that are silently holding your soul back. Some of the barriers in your life never take a clear, visible form. They live instead in the repeated thoughts that keep insisting you are not enough. They hide inside relationships that keep pulling you away from peace. They grow through habits that slowly dim your inner light without you ever noticing the moment it began. The enemy of the soul does not always announce himself with a loud noise. Very often he only plants a small, patient whisper. You can change tomorrow, not today. You will always be this way. There is no real hope for someone like you, but I never created you to live chained inside stagnation and despair. I came so that you could have life and have it overflowing. What I have for you is not a narrow existence ruled by fear and delay. It is a life full of freedom, light, and newness. Remember the woman in the synagogue who had been bent over and unable to straighten herself for 18 long years. The people around her had grown so used to seeing her in that broken condition that they treated it as ordinary, and perhaps even she had begun to believe she would stay that way forever. But when I saw her, I did not see a fixed and final destiny. I saw a daughter who needed to be set free, And the moment I spoke the words, the invisible chain that had bound her for 18 years simply broke, and she stood up straight. Hear me carefully. The fact that something has lasted in your life for many years does not mean that it came from me. There are things you have grown so used to enduring that you have mistaken them for your very nature. But I am calling you out of that quiet acceptance. I do not want you merely to survive under a weight. I want you to stand upright in the freedom of someone who belongs to the light. I see the things your eyes cannot yet see. I know about the battles taking place inside your mind, the moments when you want to move forward but feel an invisible force dragging you back, the times you begin with hope, only to be quickly buried under weariness and doubt, the way your heart fills with fear in front of a new door without ever understanding why. But hear me today, darkness does not hold the final authority over your life. The light shines on in the darkness, and the darkness has never once managed to overcome it. It is so often in the places that look the darkest that my light is able to shine the brightest, if only you will let me come in. There are people who have grown so accustomed to delay that they no longer expect anything good to happen at all. They quietly tell themselves that this is simply how life will always be. The people of Israel wandered in the wilderness far longer than they needed to, not because I failed to make them a way, but because their hearts had not yet dared to believe they could truly step into the good land I had promised. You are not so different. There are new lands I am longing to lead you into, but first you have to stop treating your old chains as something normal and acceptable. So tonight I am inviting you to look again at your own heart under my light. Do not rush to examine only the things on the surface. Let me shine into the hidden corners you usually avoid. There may be habits in there that are slowly cooling your soul. There may be voices around you that keep planting negativity and doubt. There may be old wounds that have quietly made you afraid to hope again. I am not revealing any of this in order to condemn you. I am revealing it in order to heal you. A physician has to touch the wound before he can heal it at the root, and I am the one who heals your soul with love rather than with shame. I am able to break the invisible chains that you could never remove by your own strength, but you must work together with me through honesty and surrender. Be brave enough to release the things that keep dragging you away from the light. Learn to guard your mind against whatever sows despair. Let my word fill your heart more deeply than the fears of this world ever could. Do not be afraid when I bring the truth about what is hindering you out into the open. Light was never sent to shame you. It was sent to set you free. When sunlight pours into a dark and dusty room, the dust suddenly becomes visible, not so the room can be abandoned, but so it can be cleaned and made bright again. I am doing exactly that inside your soul. What I want for you is not a life that is merely surviving from one day to the next. I want a life of true freedom, a life where you are no longer held back by the old things, no longer crushed under the weight of chains that make no sound. So awaken your soul. Stop calling your barriers normal. Stop settling for a life far beneath the freedom I destined for you. I am standing beside you, not to accuse you, but to take your hand and lead you out of the darkness. And when you let me, you will see that the walls which once looked impossibly high were only a thin mist standing in front of my power. I want you to understand that the enemy does not always need to destroy your life in a single dramatic blow. Very often all he wants is to keep you distracted long enough to forget your calling, to fill your mind with so much noise that you can no longer hear the voice of my spirit reminding you of the truth. Remember Samson. He did not lose his great strength in a single day. His downfall began with small compromises he treated as harmless, one little surrender after another, until the day came when his eyes were blinded and the strength simply left him. A soul is rarely hardened all at once. It dries out slowly through repeated moments of ignoring my warnings. So when I stir your heart, it is not a disturbance. It is grace trying to draw you back into the light before the cracks become strongholds. Today, if you hear my voice, do not harden your heart. Do not underestimate the small signs I keep placing in front of you. Sometimes the uneasiness you feel is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to make you stop and look more closely. Sometimes I let a particular word reach you, or an old memory surface, or an emptiness rise up inside you, simply to remind you that something still needs healing. A wise gardener pulls the weeds while they are still small, because if they are left to grow, their roots will choke the life out of everything healthy around them. In the same way, I do not want you to wait until bitterness has become deep resentment, until a wound has become numbness, until weariness has become full despair before you turn back to me. I want to touch your soul now, while the chains can still be broken easily by light and truth. So be still in front of me for a moment, and do not run away from the deeper questions in your own heart. Is there something you have been avoiding? Is there a pain you keep gripping tightly because you are afraid of what it would mean to face it? Is there a relationship steadily draining your peace that you still cannot bring yourself to release? Is there someone you need to forgive so that your own soul can finally go free? I am not asking these questions to condemn you. A physician does not open a wound in order to increase a patient's pain. He opens it in order to heal it at the root, and that is exactly what I am doing. Remember the man who lay beside the pool of Bethesda for 38 years, waiting for a healing that always seemed to slip past him. He had grown so used to his condition that he had nearly lost the ability to even imagine being well. And when I came near, the first thing I asked him was not how long he had suffered. I asked him whether he truly wanted to be healed, because there are people who have lived inside their chains for so long that they no longer dare to believe in freedom. So I ask you the same question tonight. Do not simply settle for surviving your days. Let yourself be truly healed. Let yourself walk in the real freedom of someone who belongs to me. And do not forget that this battle has never been only about you. What I am preparing in your life will overflow and touch many others, which is exactly why the enemy fights so hard to keep you trapped in stagnation and distraction. But if you take hold of the key I am placing in your hands, the key of spiritual awareness, surrender and faith, those strongholds will fall, and the places once occupied by darkness will be filled with light. So do not put it off any longer. Lay every burden down at my feet. Let your tears flow if they need to. Be brave enough to speak to me honestly about the pain inside your heart. I have not come to crush you because of your weakness. I have come to lift you out of it. Cast your burden onto me, and I will sustain you. Every act of surrender becomes a doorway thrown open for healing, and every time you choose light instead of hiding, you take one more step toward true freedom. I am standing right here, not with hands raised to condemn you, but with hands marked by the nails of love. Let me touch the deepest places inside you. Let me break the chains while they are still fragile, and you will see that the thing which once convinced you that you were trapped forever was only darkness dissolving in front of my eternal light. When the time comes to confront the things that have been hindering you, do not face them with the strength of anger, striking back through the flesh, and do not face them with the cold hardness of self-protection either. Face them with the strength that flows out of my truth and my love. Darkness is never truly defeated by shouting or by bitterness. It is driven away when light enters in. So when you let my love fill your soul, the chains that once discouraged you begin to lose their grip all on their own. And do not mistake my love for the weak and easily wounded thing the world so often imagines it to be. My love is a holy fire strong enough to consume every false thing in its path. It was this love that gave David the restraint to spare the life of the very king who hunted him. It was this love that gave Stephen the grace to pray for the people who were taking his life. And it was this same love that led Jesus, in his final agony, to say, "Father, forgive them." True love does not make you weaker. It sets you free from the darkness that is forever trying to drag your soul down into bitterness and hatred. When you walk inside my love, you walk inside a fortress that the darkness cannot enter the way it wishes to. So I am calling you to rise up, not tomorrow, not on some distant day when you finally feel perfect enough, but right now in this present moment. I have already placed the key in your hands, the key of faith, prayer, forgiveness, and surrender. But a door does not open simply because a key exists. You have to be brave enough to fit the key into the lock and turn it through obedience. I have given you spiritual armor, but armor only protects the one who actually puts it on. So put on the full armor I am offering you, and do not stand outside in the rain merely listening to me describe the shelter. Step into the living water so your soul can truly be made new. There are many who love to hear about victory and yet are afraid to step into the battle of transformation. They want their chains to break, but they do not want to let go of the things keeping those chains fastened. But I am calling you deeper than that. Do not glance at my word the way a person glances into a mirror and then walks away and immediately forgets his own face. Let every word I speak sink down into your mind and into your very bones until it becomes the light that guides your decisions and the breath that sustains you through ordinary days. When Joshua prepared to lead the people into the promised land, I did not only command him to be strong. I told him to meditate on my word day and night, because it is my word that keeps your steps from wandering when everything around you begins to shake. And never let yourself believe that you are fighting this battle alone. There are nights when the loneliness feels so total that you are convinced no one in heaven or on earth understands what you are carrying. Yet heaven has never once taken its eyes off you. When Elijah was certain he was the last faithful soul left alive, I reminded him that I had quietly preserved thousands of others he knew nothing about. When Daniel was thrown into the den of lions, my messenger was already there, shutting the mouths of the beasts. And even now, though your eyes cannot see it, I am still sending help to surround your life. The angel of the Lord makes his camp around those who honor me, and he delivers them. You are not alone in this, so keep your heart soft and responsive to my spirit. Do not let old wounds harden you against my guidance. There will be times when I prompt you to stop, times when I urge you to move forward, and times when I tell you to release something you have been holding far too tightly. Learn to become more sensitive to my voice than you are to the noise of the world, because victory does not come from your own strength. It comes from a life led by my Spirit. Those who are led by my Spirit are my own children, and when you let me lead the way, even the winding paths become roads that arrive at life. And do not stop praying simply because you have not yet seen the answer. Do not stop forgiving simply because the wound still aches. Do not stop walking in faith simply because the storm has not yet gone quiet. Remember the walls of Jericho. They did not fall on the first day. The people marched around the city in silence, and on the surface, it must have looked like nothing at all was happening. But they kept walking, kept obeying, kept trusting until the seventh day, and then the walls collapsed all at once. You are no different. There are strongholds in your life that may not crumble in an instant, but every single step of obedience you take is shaking them in the unseen realm. Every time you choose to stand on my word instead of on your fear, another stone is laid on the path of your victory. Every time you forgive instead of clutching your bitterness, another chain falls away. Every time you pray instead of surrendering to despair, another door opens in the spiritual realm. I want to teach you as well how to forgive with your whole heart, because I know some of your wounds run very deep. There are words that shattered something inside you. There are people who left you weeping in a loneliness no one else ever saw. I do not take any of that lightly, but if you keep carrying that bitterness, it slowly becomes an invisible chain that imprisons your own soul, and the enemy knows it. He does not always need to destroy you outright. Sometimes he only needs to fill your heart with resentment, and then sit back and watch your inner light fade. That is why I call you to forgive, not because the people who hurt you have somehow earned it, but because you are worthy of being free. Remember Joseph, who, after all the betrayal and unjust imprisonment he suffered, still chose to embrace his brothers instead of taking revenge. It was that very forgiveness that kept his soul from being consumed by the darkness. When you forgive, you are not pretending the hurt never happened. You are simply refusing to let it keep ruling your life. Forgiveness shuts the door on the darkness and opens the door for healing to walk in. And I want you to carve this truth deep into your heart, because the enemy works so hard to hide it from you. Miracles are not rewards handed out only to perfect people. If that were the rule, not one soul could ever stand in front of me. Miracles are signs of mercy. When the woman who had suffered from bleeding for 12 exhausting years finally reached out to touch the edge of my garment, she did not come to me because she had earned it. She came with nothing but a trembling, desperate faith, and that was enough. When I called Matthew, a tax collector despised by his own people, I did not wait for him to clean himself up and become respectable before I chose him. My grace has always come before the transformation, never after it. So you do not have to make yourself worthy in order to be loved by me. I loved you long before you knew how to walk rightly, and I am loving you tonight exactly as you are, wounds and failures and all. True faith does not reveal itself on the easy days. It shows up most clearly when you still choose to believe, even though nothing has changed in front of your eyes. When Peter stepped out of that boat, the sea had not gone calm. The waves were still rising, and the wind was still tearing at him. Yet he walked, because his eyes were fixed on me instead of on the storm. You are the same. Faith is not waiting until everything becomes clear before you move. Faith is daring to step forward when I call, even while the whole path is still hidden from you. Perhaps your circumstances have not yet changed. Perhaps the prayers you have lifted up have not been answered in the way you hoped. But do not let what your eyes can see decide what your heart is allowed to believe. The one who is right with me will live by faith, and faith means you keep sowing even before you see the harvest. Keep giving thanks even in the season of waiting, and keep walking even while your legs are still trembling. Remember the people of Israel standing at the edge of the Jordan River. The water did not part before they moved. It was only when the priests carrying the ark dared to set their feet down into the river that the waters drew back and a path appeared. So many miracles in your life work the same way. I am waiting for your step of faith, not a step of perfection, but a step of trust. And when you take it, no matter how small it feels, heaven itself will come to meet you on the road. And do not imagine that the miracle I am working is meant to stop with you. I long for my power to flow through your life and reach others as well. A soul that has been healed becomes a shelter for many weary souls. And a person who has walked through deep darkness knows exactly how to carry light to those who are still lost in it. Remember the woman at the well in Samaria, a woman the world had quietly written off, carrying the weight of a story she was ashamed of. When I spoke to her and touched her life, she did not keep that joy hidden inside. She left her water jar behind and ran straight back into the city, and through her testimony, many people came to me. What I am doing in you tonight is exactly the same. I am preparing you to become living proof that my grace is still at work in a wounded world. And remember blind Bartimaeus, sitting in the dust beside the road as the crowd pushed past him. When he heard that I was passing by, he began to cry out, and the people around him tried to silence him, telling him to be quiet and stay in his place. But his faith refused to keep him the same. He cried out even louder, and when I called him to come near, the thing everyone had assumed was impossible became real, and his eyes were opened. You are no different. Faith caused him to refuse to remain the way he had always been, and that same kind of faith is rising in you right now. There are things I am doing in your life that today look like nothing more than small green shoots breaking through the ground. But one day they will grow into trees heavy with fruit, and this is the very time I appointed for it. Not some distant tomorrow, not a perfect moment by human reasoning, but right now. Now lean in close, because I am calling you into a new season, unlike anything you have lived through before. This is no longer the season of delay, of the same old cycles, of fear shrinking you back from everything I have promised. A new door is opening in front of you, a door of grace, of restoration, of the very things you once only dared to ask for through your tears. See, I am doing a new thing, and it is springing up even now. I am not saying this only to stir a passing emotion. I am saying it so your soul will recognize that I am genuinely moving in your life at this very moment. Do not be afraid when you feel yourself being drawn away from what is familiar. A young bird can never learn to fly as long as it clings forever to the old nest. The people of Israel could never enter the promised land while they kept turning their eyes back toward Egypt. In the very same way, the thing I am opening in front of you is greater than anything you have always known, and that is exactly why your heart sometimes trembles. But remember this, I do not simply toss you a key and then stand far off while you struggle alone. I am the one who opens the door, and I am also the one who walks ahead of you through it. I go before you, and I will be with you, and I will never leave you or abandon you. When I invite you into something greater, I also hand you the strength to walk inside it. So keep your heart soft in front of me. Do not let old wounds harden your spirit against the new thing I am doing. I understand the way you try to protect yourself with caution, bracing for another disappointment before it even comes. But I do not want you to live with the door of your heart permanently bolted shut. A sower has to open his hand before the seed can ever fall into the ground and bear fruit. So let the breath of my grace move through your soul again. Allow yourself to believe that good things can still come. Blessed are the ones who keep waiting for me, because that kind of expectation does not weaken you. It prepares your soul to receive a miracle. There are things in your life that have sat motionless for so long that you have nearly convinced yourself they will never move again. There are closed doors that have worn you down, and invisible walls that make you feel as if you are stuck forever in one place. But the moment my light touches something that has been frozen, it begins to move. Think again of that valley of dry bones, where everything looked utterly dead, and yet at the sound of my word, bone joined to bone, breath rushed in, and a living army rose to its feet. So it is with you. There are parts of your life where you cannot yet see any change on the outside, but my word has already begun moving in the unseen realm. What you need is not more despair. It is the eyes of faith to recognize that the movement has already started. But understand this as well. Victory does not come simply from hearing my word and then leaving it untouched. A key has to be used before a door will open, and faith has to walk before a miracle can be experienced. When the army commander Naaman was told to wash himself 7 times in an ordinary river, he first had to humble himself and obey before the healing ever came. The same is true for you. I am giving you spiritual strategy, inner promptings, gentle reminders, and doors that I open in front of you. But you have to work together with me through obedience and perseverance. Do not expect change while refusing to take a step. Do not pray for light while still clinging to the things that pull you back into the dark. I have always done my part, From the very earliest days of your trials, when you cried in silence, I heard you. When you were convinced you were completely alone, I was still walking right beside you. There were storms that should have drowned you, and yet my hand held you upright even when you had no idea it was there. I cover you with my own protection, and beneath the shelter of my care you find refuge. I have never turned away from your life, not even for a single moment. And even in the seasons when you were farthest from me, my love never stopped pursuing you. But I did not create you to stand frozen, waiting for everything to happen on its own. I want you to walk with me as a companion inside this eternal plan. A door needs both a key and a hand willing to turn it. My grace is always ready, but you must respond when I prompt you. When I tell you to forgive, forgive. When I tell you to release what is dragging your soul downward, be brave enough to let it go. When I open a new opportunity in front of you, do not let fear send you retreating. Every time you cooperate with me, another chain falls, another door opens, and more light spreads through your life. This is a season of breakthrough. Not because you have finally become strong enough on your own, but because I am breathing new life over you. I am placing a new vision in your heart, new strength in your spirit, and a fresh fire of hope where the old one had nearly gone cold. The things that used to discourage you will no longer carry the same authority over you. The walls that once convinced you that you were trapped will begin to crack under my power. And then you will realize that what I am doing is not for you alone. Through your restoration, many others will find their own hope. Through your victory, many others will recognize that I am still moving in this world. So breathe in my grace deeply and lift up your head. Do not carry the mindset of your old defeats into this new season. Walk as someone who knows they are being led by the one who never fails. I am going ahead of you. I am opening the doors. I am holding your hand, and if you keep trusting me, and keep walking, and keep cooperating with me, you will watch what once seemed impossible appear slowly in front of you, like the dawn rising at the end of a very long night. Understand that I did not lead you here only to give you a handful of comforting words and then send you back to your old way of living. I am marking a new beginning over your life. Anyone who is joined to me becomes a new creation, and though the world may not see the change all at once, in the spiritual realm, a door has already opened that cannot be closed again. I am renewing the way you see yourself, the way you see your future, and the way you see my presence walking with you. So do not be afraid when I call you to become different from the crowd. Those who are set apart often have to walk roads that the people around them do not understand. Joseph was rejected by his own brothers before he ever became the one who would save them. Elijah stood almost entirely alone among a people drowning in doubt. Even Jesus himself was misunderstood and dismissed by the world before the light of resurrection finally revealed his glory. A genuine calling does not always begin with the applause of crowds. Very often it begins in quiet, hidden seasons where I prepare your soul in solitude, and it is precisely those seasons that make you strong enough to carry what I am about to place into your hands without losing yourself in it. I am not shaping you into a faint shadow inside my plan. I am shaping you into a pillar, a soul that stands firm in the middle of the storm, a lamp that keeps burning in the darkness, so that many others can find their way. Spiritual victory does not begin in the moment you finally see a miracle with your own eyes. It begins in the quiet choices you make every single day to keep walking with me. Many people stop at merely hearing, merely knowing what is right, and yet their souls never truly move because they never let their feet follow what I have spoken. Faith without action is dead. I did not call you into a life filled only with spiritual knowledge. I called you into a life that is genuinely transformed through real closeness with me. What I want is not just lips that recite prayers, but a living heart that turns toward me the way a thirsty tree leans toward the river. So learn to pray as though prayer were the very breath of your soul. Do not let it harden into a cold routine your mouth performs while your heart drifts somewhere far away. I am not searching for elegant words. I am searching for honesty. A short prayer soaked in tears reaches me more deeply than a long and polished speech with no fire of love inside it. Remember Hannah in the temple, who did not pray loudly so others could admire her, but quietly poured out the anguish and the hope of her soul before me, and I heard the cry of her heart. You are the same. Every time you come near to me with a sincere heart, the doors of heaven begin opening over your life in ways you cannot yet see. There are battles you will never win by human determination, and chains that will never break through effort alone, but only through my presence as you remain in prayer. It is in those still moments in front of me that your soul is renewed, your mind stops being dragged away by the noise of the world, fear loosens its grip, and a peace from heaven settles over your heart like a warm garment. I know you live in a world that is always rushing, but your soul has never been healed in haste. Your faith may feel as small as a single mustard seed, but I am still able to do enormous things through that simple trust. Remember Elijah again, sitting under the broom tree, convinced he could not take one more step. He had already seen fire fall from the sky and had witnessed astonishing power, and yet even he reached a moment of total exhaustion and despair. But I did not leave him in that weakness. I fed him, I let him rest, and then I gently raised him up to continue the journey. I do not despise your weariness. I understand the limits of your body and your mind more intimately than you understand them yourself. What I am looking for is not a person who pretends to be strong all the time, but a heart that still turns back to me even in its weakest moments. So keep walking and stop measuring your journey by someone else's speed. Do not let the delays trick you into thinking, I have forgotten my promise to you. Every second of patience is quietly growing wings inside your soul. Every time you choose to keep trusting, another layer of the old chains falls away. Those who wait on me will renew their strength. They will rise up on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary, and walk and not faint. So do not let go of hope. The river of miracles is still flowing toward you. The door of heaven is still standing open. And at the very moment you are most convinced that everything is still impossibly far away, I have been quietly bringing you closer to the answer your heart has been praying for across so many years. I do not want you to drag yourself through life beneath a weight I never asked you to carry. I never created you to live in exhaustion and fear. Cast all your anxiety onto me because I genuinely care for you. I am the one who holds you up when your knees are shaking, and the one who keeps you standing when your mind has worn thin. And as you keep listening, keep your eyes open to see beyond what is merely visible, because there are moments when, on the outside, it looks as though nothing at all is changing, while in the spiritual realm, every part of my plan is already in motion. Picture an airplane sitting at the end of the runway, its wheels still touching the ground, while its engines have already begun to roar in preparation for flight. You may feel as though you are standing in the very same place you have always stood, but I can see you being lifted beyond your old limitations. Faith is the set of eyes that lets you see what does not yet exist, as though it were already real, because you walk with me by faith and not only by sight. I also want you to understand how much power lives in the words you choose to speak, far more than you have ever realized. There are people who fill their mouths day after day with disappointment, and slowly their souls grow as dry as the very words they keep repeating over themselves. But I am teaching you a different way, because death and life are held in the power of the tongue. When you open your mouth and declare hope while your circumstances are still dark, you are sowing life into the very ground where darkness had settled in. When you remind yourself out loud that you are loved, that you are chosen, that you were created on purpose, you are watering the seed of faith that is growing quietly inside your soul. So do not treat those declarations as empty phrases meant only to make you feel better for a moment. They are your soul standing in agreement with the truth of heaven. When Ezekiel stood in that valley of bones, I did not tell him to sit down in despair. I commanded him to speak over them, and when he obeyed, what had been dead began to live. There are places inside your own life right now that need to hear the voice of faith instead of the voice of fear. So speak life over the dreams you buried. Speak hope into the places that fear had emptied out. Declare light into the corners where the darkness once stole your courage. And then let that faith move all the way into action, because faith that never moves your feet has already died. Many people ask me to open doors, and then, when the doors finally open, they are too afraid to walk through them. But this is the season I am calling you to rise and walk. I want your heart to grow wide enough to understand that this calling was never reserved for a small, special handful of people who imagine themselves better than everyone else. My heart has always been turned toward every nation, toward every single soul, wandering through this troubled and shifting world. I take no pleasure at all in watching anyone live in darkness or despair, and I do not want even one person to be left behind in this hour when I am awakening my people. Whoever has ears to hear, let them hear what my spirit is saying. That call does not echo only inside grand buildings or among those who believe themselves strong in faith. It reaches the weary hearts, the lost, and the souls who have decided they have wandered too far for me to ever notice them again. When I speak things that rise far above ordinary human understanding, do not slam the door of your heart shut out of surprise or doubt. There are truths heaven reveals that will always stretch beyond the limits of what the human mind can fully grasp. When Ezekiel watched a valley of dry bones come back to life, it shattered every rule of natural logic. When Peter felt solid water beneath his feet, it defied everything he thought he knew. Yet it is precisely at the point where human strength reaches its limit that my power begins to reveal itself. My thoughts are not your thoughts, and my ways are higher than your ways. So the astonishment you feel is not a reason to be afraid. It is a reminder that I am still the God who stands above every limitation of time and circumstance. I am not speaking to plant confusion in you. I am speaking so that your soul can stand firm while the earth itself is shaking. The world may tremble, and the things you once believed would last forever may change in a moment, but my word does not change. The grass withers and the flowers fall, but my word endures forever. When you cling to my promises, you become like a house built on solid rock. The rain may fall, the winds may blow, and the floods may rise against it, but its foundation will not collapse. So prepare your heart the way a wise soldier prepares, not waiting until the battle has already begun to go searching for his armor. Equip your soul today through prayer, through my word, and through spiritual watchfulness. Storms will come upon the earth, but those who stay close to me will find refuge for their souls. And prepare your heart at the same time, the way a bride prepares for the day she finally meets the one she loves, not with dread, but with expectancy and a pure heart. Remember the parable of the 10 young women waiting for the bridegroom. What separated the wise from the foolish was not whether they knew he was coming. It was whether they had kept oil ready in their lamps. So you too must keep the lamp of your soul filled with the oil of prayer, of faith, and of closeness with me, and never let the noise of the world drain it dry before the important hour arrives. And learn to be patient the way a farmer is patient as he waits for the harvest. He does not dig up the soil every single morning to check whether the seed has begun to grow. He trusts the hidden process of life. In exactly the same way, The things I am planting in my people today will grow in the appointed time I have already determined. A quiet restoration has already begun. Dry hearts are going to be refreshed. Communities that were torn apart will be healed. And what I am preparing was never limited to your personal life alone. It will spread like a river of living water flowing across many lands. This calling reaches beyond every border that humanity has ever built. In front of me there is no nation greater and no nation smaller, and no language is ever foreign to my ears. I am calling my children home from every corner of the earth, drawing them back into unity through love and truth. On the day I poured out my Spirit at Pentecost, people from many different nations heard the same message, each one in his own language. And that was a sign that my heart has always belonged to all peoples. I do not desire division. I am preparing a people who know how to love one another, how to hold one another up, and how to rise together as light in the middle of a darkened age. You may look at the world today and see brokenness everywhere, confusion spreading, hearts wandering with no direction. But it is precisely in times like these that my light must shine even brighter. So, I am calling you not to live like someone asleep in the middle of the daylight. Let your soul wake up. Let your heart be made new. Let my light search every hidden corner inside you, so that I can use you to carry light to others. I am opening a new season, a season of rebuilding, of healing and of restoration. Walls that lay in ruins will be raised up again. Souls that had run completely out of strength will receive it back. Places that were divided will watch my love mend what was torn apart. And I want you to be part of what I am doing on this earth, not through your own strength, but through surrender and love for me. So open your heart as wide as you possibly can. Do not let fear cause you to shrink back from such a great calling from heaven. Rise as someone who knows they belong to the light. Hold on to your faith like an anchor in the middle of the storm. And remember this, above everything else I have spoken tonight. Though the world may change, and though everything around you may tremble and shift, I am still the one seated on the eternal throne. I am the one who guides you, the one who protects you, and the one who is calling you into a new season of restoration and glory. So when the weariness of the long road tries to make you forget who you truly are, hear me one final time. You have never been removed from my plan. No failure was ever large enough to erase the calling I placed on your life. No dark season was ever powerful enough to put out the fire I lit inside your soul. The one who began a good work in you is faithful to carry it all the way to completion. And the chapter ahead of you is far brighter than anything your eyes can see tonight. You are chosen, not after you finally become more perfect, but exactly where you are standing right now. You are called by name, not because you are the strongest, but because you are loved. Every season of waiting you have walked through was leading you straight to this very moment, widening your soul to hold what I am about to give you. The delays were never sent to destroy your hope. They were preparing you, and the day will come when you look back over this whole journey and understand, with a gratitude that brings tears to your eyes, that every trial, every season of waiting, and every word I have spoken to you was leading you to the place I appointed for you. From before the world began, the place where you finally know beyond every doubt that you have always been loved, always been chosen, and never once forgotten in my eternal heart. The most beautiful part of your story is still ahead of you. So lift up your head, take my hand, and walk forward into the light.